The potential recorded by CRA, it's 4.7 billion, which includes an amount of 1.2 billion for the hospitals. So in effect, it's 3.5 billion. However, the information I have is that this figure has been appealed and has been settled at 2 billion following consultations with the county executive. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, so members, you can have that figure in mind. Maybe we could adopt the 2 billion as being more realistic. But just a look at the statement of receipts and disbursements under the ROR statement. Governor, your revenues dropped by 20 million. And the explanation is that there was a change in system. While the system was being changed, revenue was not being collected.
There was a bit of challenges because the change of from one system to the other was not smooth. The previous guy actually left with all the data, so we were forced to start from scratch, even in terms of mapping revenue streams. Of course, when you have that kind of situation, there could also be revenue leakages along the way before you stabilize. That's the major reason why we went low, but we have since peaked.
So if you look at, and I hope your receiver of revenue has given you a copy of the statement of receipts and disbursements for the year ended 30th June 2024. I think let's just have a look at that schedule and ask ourselves whether there is a bigger problem that we need to deal with. I don't know whether you have it. In the ROR statement, I don't think it's reproduced in the governor's report. So clerks, if you don't have a hard copy, please circulate it even in soft copy so that members can follow. So Governor, let's look at the first row on cess. The previous year you collected 44 million. And then the following year you collected 11 million. A difference of 33 million.
Yes.
How do you explain that using a system? If you go to single business permit, you collected 70 million, and then the year under review, 64 million. A difference of 6 million, which then indicates that businesses shut down in Trans Nzoia. How is that explained by change of system? You go down, even parking fees from 63 million to 49 million. Market fees from 17 million to 13 million. Advertising from 17 million to 5 million. Conservancy administration from 5 million to 1 million. Physical planning and development from 4 million to 3 million. You know, it's a long, long list of variation. At the end of it all, the aggregate variation is 20 million. How is this explained? Simply that you changed a system. People were collecting money and pocketing. This is symptomatic of theft. Unless, members, you are seeing the link between this and a change of system.
Chair, maybe through you, maybe what we may need to understand is what system are you changing from? What system was at play, and then what did we change to, so that we appreciate this loss, this leakage? What system was in place before the change?
Governor, it will also help us understand if you were to paint a picture of the time that it took for those system changes to be effected.
Governor?
Okay, thank you, Honorable Chair. I will be able to explain what transpired. The Governor has clearly mentioned that we had a changeover of system, And when you look at it, we are having changes, particularly in the single business permit. Honorable Chair, the change happened actually at the peak of most of the revenues. So we were not able to realize that because there is a requirement that you cannot collect revenue off the system. And we're only trying to comply that because if you collect off the system, money gets into the bank, and we are not able to verify actually how much has been paid through a system because reporting of revenue must be clearly indicated. Then another reason as to why we had that challenge is that the revenue register or data had been withheld by the previous system operators, which was called ZZ. The new system we are talking about is EREV. So during that period, we were not able to get proper data to have it then mapped through the system to enable us to correct. CRA is very clear in matters of collection of revenue that we cannot do it off the system. And that's actually what we are trying to do so that we can cap this issue of what the chair is raising, that pocketing the money. If you give staff that leeway to interact with money, then you lose the money. So we want all the revenue, it's a requirement that all the revenue system actually has to be cashless. So that is why we experience that. But when you look at the current performance, Honorable Chair, we have mitigated that.
Current performance, we are looking at 2023, 2024.
I was only trying to...
And the reason why we must have this conversation is we must find out who the culprit is.
Okay.
Is it the system vendors?
Yeah.
Is it the collectors of revenue? Because there is a problem.
Yeah, sure.
There is a problem. And that problem, we must deal with it.
Okay.
So go back to single business permit, that line that you had picked. How do you explain that? And please, whereas the guidelines by CRA on automation remains a prudential guideline, we still have counties that are collecting manually. So you cannot say that you are either collecting automatically or not collecting at all. So you need to revise that. Okay. So explain to us, for example, that single business permit, which indicates that there was a 10% drop. It means that 10% of your business is shut down in an economy that should be growing at 5%. Yeah. How do you explain that? Just take that, that row.
For single business permit, Honorable Chair, a common practice for most of our taxpayers or our clients is that during that period when we issue invoices, and they tend to pay more during that time because we also do a lot of compliance during that period, because once the invoices are issued and confirmed, now what follows is collection. Most of them normally reserve funds to pay at that period.
Remember, if it's a common practice, it was there in the prior year. That's why you are comparing 2 years where the practice has been common. So can you give us a better explanation, please?
A better explanation, Honorable Chair, is that the system was actually changed over in the period of January to March. And that is our peak period. That's what I'm explaining, Honorable Chair.
So the money that was collected between January to March, where did it go?
We have, in the receipt of revenue report, that time we actually, because we were losing a lot and we encouraged them to do offline, then later on we were able to now map them in the system.
Where did the money go?
In the bank.
Just show us here in the ROR statement where that money is.
I'm not accounting for the shortage of 10 million. I'm not saying when we collected 10 million and we banked it somewhere or somebody took the money. We were not able to realize revenue collection during that period because there was a system changeover. We were affected. Not that we collected and we banked that money elsewhere, Honorable Chair.
Senator Wambua, then Senator Chirati.
Chief Officer, you may land yourself in some trouble. You've just said, your own words, that the time of changeover is when a lot of people are paying their rates. And because of the changeover, the implication is that people did not pay. Is that what you're saying?
True.
You're saying people did not pay.
True.
So why did you effect the changeover at a time that you're supposed to be collecting revenue?
Through Honorable Chair.
It was your decision to
through Honorable Chair, we only picked single business permit, and I'm saying single business permit, its peak is at January and March, but other revenues were still going on.
There are 11 rows where there was a drop in revenue,
Yes.
which cumulatively comes to 20 million.
Yes.
So I don't know whether you have 11 different stories for the 11 different rows. Senator
Chair,
Chiraki.
let me pick it from where you have left. Governor, how long has been Ibrahim Chisaka been acting as the Governor? How long has been Ibrahim Chisaka has been acting Director of Receiver of Revenue? Number one. Number two, Chair, let me pick it from where the Chief Officer left, because it looks like the previous system was more effective than they want to change of. Because if you look even at parking fees, I don't know whether people park only in January, Bwana CEO, because the street parking fees in the 2023-2024 was 14,532,865, sorry. Financial year, the previous one, 22,729,785. So, Chair, if you look at the entire parking fees, there was a drop of close to 14 million. He has argued that his single business permit was a drop because people take business permits in January. But on parking fees, the fall is from, in the previous financial year, Governor, was 63,786,285. In the financial year under review was 49,960,973. So there is a fall of almost 14 million. So, Chair, we need to know, Governor, was the intention of changing system into this was to cause inefficiency and allow leakages for an intended purpose? Because looking at the revenue rose cumulatively to 20 million, it looks like the intention was to collect less, or was being collected and somebody was pocketing the money. And finally, Chair, on this receiver of revenue, this maintenance of revenue, Governor, how much were you paying? Either through maintenance of revenue, do you own it, or is there agency fee to that effect? And you mentioned something curiously, Governor. The fourth question will be, you said that the previous vendor left with all the data. Was there no agreement between the county government and the vendor that left? Because I thought those are, and it is good you have one of the advocates here who was my classmates, Chair. He said that the data left with the previous vendor. I thought there was an agreement. So how did he leave without proper handing over of the data to the county government? Can he highlight something on that?
Yeah, because if that is established, then we also have the power under the Public Audit Act to recommend debarment of a service provider who is complicit in matters that contravene the PFM. And so we want to know where the problem lies, whether it's systems, whether it's your collectors, or whether it's a systemic looting from the public. So
that's Chair.